Kala ya basi me awasawara kakodash. Dice la criatura, right? Yeah. Let's see who's populating in Slovakia. There it is. So Woman Sarala once more here in Yonkers, New York. Yonkers to Lakers through. Speaking of, here at the casino, I got a little redemption KO in there once. Dude tried to take my life. Practicing for MMA, wildin'. Fuck with my tires in the hills. I could have fucking died in those hills, man. He admitted to fucking with the tire brakes. So, you know, I had to leave him in the stall, man. And hey, we seek redemption, but we also seek grace. And if we're seeking grace, gotta give grace. Hence, crazy jiu-jitsu, eh? We gotta have a balance, man. You gotta have that right hand ready. We'll keep this intro at 144. Shalom, Yasharal. Actually, I've been living like maybe a block and a half from here. And I had to move down from Greenberg. Same administrators. Keep in mind, you know, for when you're trying to keep your gig, keep in mind that you're also influencing those that want to administer you in the aggregate. AKA, you have not an influence, you have a responsibility for your gig, and even if you're about to retire, you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility towards those who are still working there after you. You know? You have a responsibility for those who might fucking go into slavery and shit because of your actions or lack thereof. You know, even if you're not around anymore, man, clearly this shit is being set up. My own company I've been working for 5 years is a perfect example. We don't have a union, yet we're okay, in the most part. Through, you know, I strictly am, you know, in solitude, trying to get closer to the Most High, so forth and so on. But we're gonna reach, you know, the Spirit 3:16, right? I'll read all of that chapter. Is my humble opinion. John 3:16, right? The infamous John 3:16. And I'm in this position here in the vehicle, trying to open up that right shoulder. A lot of us have that issue, you know, with the right shoulder, trying to open it up. There it is. And it gives you better breathing, more oxygen to the rest of your organs, and more paused demeanor so you can think about every word and what you're listening to ultimately. Alright, let's do a quickie. In Leviticus chapter 20. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, again, thou shalt say to the children of Yasharala, whoever he be, whosoever he be of the children of Yasharala, or of the strangers that sojourn in Yasharala. So the strangers are those who pretty much acted like other nations, like a lot of us have through most of our lives. We've been acting like other nations. And the Most High knows that's what we're called strangers. That sojourn in Yasharala, that giveth any of his seed unto Molech, al Molech. He shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. I just leave it at 5. That same spirit. I will set my face against that man. And so I'm trying to heal with the edge of the seed here. And I will set my face against that man. I will cut him off from among his people, because he had given of his seed unto Mole. Right? And I learned through one of my own videos, because I really, like maybe a year and a half ago, YouTube stopped letting random apps use them as a platform to download videos. So I could only make videos over Odyssey now, which is fine through the spirit, you know. But through the Odyssey camp in, I think is, not Mazatlan, maybe. But one of those coastal towns. You know, shout out to Sean Alvarez in Mazatlan, brother. I hope you're doing all right, man. Puerto Rican, Bronx, brother. And Jonathan Alvarez. I forgot Jonathan's last name. Anyway, the dude from there was like they called their mixed seed mole. So hence, because he had given off his seed unto mole to define my, and you can read along in the Spanish. It's gonna be a minute. It might get dark soon. It's Sábado, but a lot of fools it's still Saturnalia Saturday, you know. To defile, right, my sanctuary and to profane my own name. And if the people of the land do anyways hide their eyes from the man, when he giveth his seed unto Molech and kill him not, then I will set my face against that. You understand the true responsibility of the wisdom and right hand of Eve, alright? Which is in the house of Israel, alright? We are Yasharala. We are, you know, in perpetual gratitude, you know, Tawada Yahweh, for Hashem Yahweh Shai, for Kudash, Barakatam wa Ka'Allah. So that's 5. Then I will set my face, or ABCE, right? And I will set my face against that man, against his family, and will cut him off. And all that go whoring after him to commit whoredom with mole, right? From among their people. And the soul that turn it, Salaki. See, get some West Coast vibe here. Alright. Let's get over there. You gotta open up the right shoulder again, pardon. Perdón el espartano. Because that pretty much, my flesh has had Lyme disease for decades, so that shit is deep. The geometry of the Lyme is deep in my entire infrastructure. Pretty much holding me together at this point, but it also smells horrendous depending on the diet, man. It's a bacteria, so it's perpetually feeding, which is good because it could feed on like fucking cancer and shit, ideally, right? Stay on the lookout for the White Fang Clan. Point being, I oblige for the 4, but I'm not trying to go look for health insurance. I'm trying to be the health insurance. So, I don't know, man. I'm just hyped like a lot of dudes, man. We watched Black Adam. We knew what it was about. There's nothing original coming out of anyone. It's all rewritten scriptural stories. and retails and right, tails and retails, right? So we gotta focus on creation and be wary of recreation and everything that comes before destruction. It's happened multiple times. There's been multiple resets. It's nothing new. Even if you're not into the scriptures, you know there's been multiple resets. There's been a flood, and there's been multiple meltings or burn downs. A recent example could be 9/11, and it's been done in a smaller and smaller scale throughout time, just like we have become smaller and smaller. Just look at the door frames at any architecture. You could be directed to a point of time whence people were clearly bigger, stronger, mightier, and they still got destroyed with their advanced weaponry, with their extreme thirst to get into heavens physically, their wonderful idea, E equals MC squared, right? They're wonderful, and in the prior incarnations with the Tower of Nimrod. I was speaking to a gentleman about that today. Pardon the offshoot, but I was speaking to a fool that said, you know, that Nimrod was like if it was something fantastical. No, the core priority and intention behind trying to build a tower to break into heaven, like now with NASA, SpaceX, etc., whatever actor millionaire they put in front of you or politician, is the intention. You're trying to do the Most High's work. You're trying to recreate. How do you think that's a good idea? Entire civilizations have gotten destroyed before because of that. Gene manipulation. Right now, since the 80s at least that we know of, since the 80s, 70s, subatomic mutagens that they've been working on, and that we know of, and are even given the name in the vernacular, puberty blockers. So, let me finish this here. And once more, for me, a pragmatic, practical individual, in the most part, or that's my goal. You gotta get the concavity of the earth. You gotta get the reality of where you live in. Why? Because you could visualize. You're not supposed to throw it out. But you could write about it, like Mosaic Law clearly says. The same Mosaic Law we're reading now. You know, that actually made the 10 Commandments not to display anything above 100 kilometers or beneath the 10,000 miles they can't go beyond. But how is it ever going to be a good idea to go against the power that decides once your spirit goes? When you reincarnate, you go to the first heaven. If you're female, you go to the second heaven. If you're male, pursuant to kept apocryphal books. The more important than that, you don't want to go to the heavenly chambers of reproof that a lot of these giant spirits and demonic entities are in. And even less the hellish realms, which ultimately answer to the Most High. It's perfect. It's like I always return to the corporation or a prison ward or anything. It is, because now it's the prison industrial complex is privatized. So it is a corporation, a dead body, right? Something might happen at a particular level, cubicle, allegiance, so forth and so on. They might be minions, and the Most High allows it. Not only does He have mercy and grace, but He has a purpose, which 99% of the time He's absolutely blinding you to. So in that spirit, you know, and the soul that turneth after such that's half familiar spirits and after wizards and Gorehorn after them, everything modern day Babylon idolizes, I will even set my face against that soul and will cut him off from amongst his people. It's Racket. I sent my I bought these I'm rocking them now, man. I sent my cousins in California a picture of this, the Street Fighter 2. My Dominican cousins, man, because we grew up playing Street Fighter 2. And through the spirit, I hope they, they return to the word. I hope, I pray in the name of Yahweh Shem outside, water with us. They find redemption. Those are my three little cousins from California, and I got them into jiu-jitsu and MMA. And one of them who actually recently moved, I think to one of the Carolinas, who had a baby and shit. That dude did well in high school wrestling, which isn't an easy task, if you're just trying to straight wrestle, not if you're trying to join a fucking sorority and shit. And the soul that turneth after such familiar spirits and after wizards to go whoring after him, I will even set my face against that soul and will cut him off from amongst people. Sanctify yourselves therefore and be ye holy, for I am Yahweh, your power. The 7 from Leviticus 20. I think it's just simply the most powerful chapter from Leviticus, which could speak on the aggregate of going offs which are still going on, so forth and so on. And ye shall keep my statutes and do them. I am Yahweh, which sanctify you. 9. For everyone that curseth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. He hath cursed his father or his mother, his blood shall be upon him. Alright? And that's a perfect example. I never cursed my mother. But my father, and we had a situation, he put his hands on me, and and he was unconscious. 3 weeks later, broken orbital bone through a simple sparring session in Quantico, Virginia. Broken orbital bone. And I got I got 3 screws, a titanium plate, and a titanium net holding up my left eye, up at Bethesda Hospital in 2010. So that's all. People might call that karma, right? Pardon the ink. You might call that karma, but look, that's the law, right there and then in clear text, right? For everyone that curses his father or his mother, shall surely be put to death. He that cursed his father or his mother. And he was cursed. He had to move like near Bolivia after that situation. That pretty much brought forth a lot of the shit that he was going off on in that town. He's getting into politics and shit. And eventually, I caught a tick. So maybe I shouldn't have exposed him like that. And still, he's going off, and that's the reason we hardly speak. I'm got nothing to say regarding my mother. 1 or 10, and the man that committed adultery with another man's wife, right? Speaking of, and a man that committed adultery with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. And the man that lied with his father's wife had uncovered his father's nakedness. Marvin Gaye. Both of them shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. 3 or 12. So gotta watch my back. a little bit. All right, good to go. Ooh, I got bad ribs. Pardon that. Yeah. All right, so where were we? Trying to get the watery heavens. There. You see, our color is perception. Color is absolutely perception. There it is. And if a man lie with his daughter-in-law, Mr. K, both of them shall surely be put to death. They have wrought confusion, their blood shall be upon them. If a man also lie with mankind, 13, right? If a man also lie with mankind as he lied with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. Shall surely be put to death, and their blood shall be upon them. 5 or 14, if a man take a wife and her mother, it is wickedness. They shall be burned with fire, both he and they, that there be no wickedness among you. Which reminds me of when the mom gets put out there. The mom gets put out there to test the soon-to-be husband's righteousness, and like she trying to beat, or she trying to beat before whatever he gets officially ceremonially with her daughter, and he's like, yo, I dipped out the place. And then the whole family was outside. And he's like, yo, Tawada Yahweh, that I'd love the condoms in the whip. Point being, you shouldn't be beating with condoms anyway. But yeah, if anyone sabe la canción, esa fue. Yo. ¿Sí o no? If a man take a wife and her mother, it is wickedness. They shall be burned with fire, both he and they, that there be no wickedness. Pardon that. Wow, look at the hella chemtrails, man. Look at that. Straight sword. Look at that. Chemtrail looking like a machete. And we're breathing this barium, aluminum, strontium, baals. Yeah. No wonder the branches are so. And Tawala Yahweh from keeping me, if in this lifetime you allow me to have my children, Tawala Yahweh, that they're still in heaven for now. That's like my favorite prayer from one of the apocryphal books. Can't remember which one. And I know I mentioned it 100 times in other videos. I don't know if I mentioned this. YouTube has deleted 50% of my videos. Why? I get no views. What are you so worried about? Yet some fool pushing division to kill righteousness. That dude you'd have there. But it is a test tube, it is a YouTube, it is a world wide web of stumbling blocks and affliction. So what else to be expected, man? You want peace, prepare for war. And if Yahweh does speak to Salakia. We 9. And the man that committed adultery with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. And the man that lied with his father's wife hath uncovered his father's death. Both of them shall surely be put to death, and their blood shall be upon them. And if a man lie with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall surely be put to death. They have wrought confusion. Right? And you don't got to go that deep to know if someone's bringing confusion or not. Just speak to them 3 seconds. I just want you don't even gotta hear them speak. Just the look, you know, they're not blinking. They're waiting. What all the spirits that are in them are just like waiting to jump on someone else, and they're just a conduit. Majority of people are simply conduits. For spirits. Now the Most High wants you to know who you are, your responsibilities, and the reason why you were made. But He doesn't want no distracted ass spirits that don't know who they are in the heavens. So He has this land layer for reproof and perfection thereof. So we learn through carnality to eventually be out of these carnal garments and in more perfect temples pursuant to Scripture. And this is part of that process of, now through the mercy of Yahweh. Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, if a man also lie with mankind as he lied with a woman, both of them commit an abomination, they surely shall be put to death, their blood shall be upon them. 5. If a man take a wife and her mother, it is wickedness, they shall be burned with fire, both he and they. Let's get the casino in for a little artistic. Salaki, I'm gonna open the camera like Shift Knight knocking P. Diddy up in the video. Who's who can we say is up in the video nowadays? That camp leader that I don't know any names, but I'm just giving a hypothetical, right? That camp leader that knocks that one righteous Israelite in the group who has the guts to step to him man to man and say, hey, look, 1-to-1, you know, you're going off and this, that, and the other. Why this? And then that camp leader just, okay, yeah, well, you're going to hold the sign for 6 months. That's fine. And the Most High is His left hand, and everyone's being perfected in their lower state. No matter how low you fall, the host is going to be there to help you get right. So, depending on what type of abominations you might, out of your control, be eating, breathing, you know, living in, the low frequency electromagnetic weaponry directed at you, nothing. Light affliction. Alright? These temples are temporary. We govern them through the Spirit and power of Allah. Shall be burned with fire, both he and they, that there be no wickedness among you. Cleansing. If a man shall lie with a beast, he shall surely be put to death, and he shall slay the beast. 7. And if a woman approached unto any beast and lie unto their and you hear? Even the geese are like word. And lie down thereto, thou shalt kill. This is the reason why the other nations will eventually be better off following our law, statutes, and commandments through grace in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. We've all gone off, but I'm never even, that's. I'm still with Leviticus 20:16. Yeah. And lie down thereof shall kill the woman, the beast, and they shall surely be put to death, and the blood shall. Because I just seen this shorty on Instagram through one of the GMS pages bragging. Not bragging, but yeah, bragging, crying on camera, talking about, oh, my neighbor saw me beating my dog. I'm like, wow. They shall surely be put to death, and their blood shall be upon them. And if a man shall take his sister, his father's daughter, that's a reminder, that ain't just my sister, that's my father's daughter, and see her nakedness, and she see his nakedness, it is a wicked thing, and they shall be cut off in the sight of their people. He hath uncovered his sister's nakedness. Wow. 9. And if a man, he shall bear his iniquity. Oh, wow. And if a man shall lie with a woman having her sickness, and shall uncover her nakedness, blood. That's why we don't drink the blood. Having uncovered her nakedness, he hath discovered her fountain, her period, her monthly cycle, and blood, of her blood, and both of them shall, and both of them shall be cut off from amongst their people. So, hey, even when I was married, sometimes you do it accidentally, like, yo, so what, I broke Leviticus 20:18? No, you're in grace through your house, alright? Don't do it again, though. And thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister, nor of thy father's sister. For he uncovered his near kin. Who was that? Him, right? And thou shalt, the last time the Most High flooded this place, nor of thy father's sister, for he uncovered his near kin. None of that shit, nigga. They shall bear their iniquity. And if a man shall lie with his uncle's wife, he hath uncovered his uncle's nakedness. They shall bear their sin. They shall die childless. 21. If a man shall take his brother's wife, it is an unclean thing. He has his brother's nakedness. They shall be childless. Alright? So, you think this contradicts another Levitical law? There's a left-handed law that states that for this very purpose, for children, to bring forth an inheritance, you're supposed to take your brother's wife only if he dies, alright? Only if he's dead, for this very purpose. But if he's alive, and you take your brother's wife, you're going, and so it's not a contradiction of the law. The law is perfect. And we are not. The law is simply, we're practicing the law in these experiences of carnality, right? And the Most High, he'll bring forth greater power and responsibility if he sees that you ain't going off and truly practicing the law, statutes, and commandments to the very best of your understanding and ability, man. It's practice, brother. And if a man should take his brother's wife, it is an unclean thing. He hath uncovered his brother's nakedness. They shall be childless. Like right now, I'm spitting with a hat on. So I'm spitting with my head covered. You know, I simply want a little bit less electromagnetic, low frequency weaponry to hit the brainwave while I'm reading the Most High Word. But guess what? More than this hat, the Spirit could direct that Wi-Fi-like technology elsewhere, even to its source in this land layer. Why? Because the Spirit is directed through the source of all powers, the heaven of heavens. And I'll give you proof right now. You can see the moon and the sun just set, but the moon's been out. The only thing, I'm gonna go through it once more. The only thing that rotates is the celestial sphere, alright? The only thing that rotates is the celestial sphere. That knowledge is secondary if you don't fear the core of that sphere, the power of powers. And the only thing the sun's orbit, it's not the sun. There's a reason why these sun worshippers have an orbit and a limit. The Saturnian orbit, that's why Sábado was turned to Saturday. The Saturnian orbit has a very specific charge, limit, purpose, and reason. But it's not the heaven of heavens. It's simply an orbit. Wow. But it's an orbit with an enormous administrative responsibility, and they know if they don't keep their orders in charge, they will be taken out. You know, the Levites of the left hand understand that very clearly. In the uppermost echelons, you know, and a lot of those are heavily melanated individuals. Now, I'm not even going to say a lot of them are Israelites. The way things are now, man. I pray the Most High, you know, exposes everyone for who they really are, independent of their melanin levels. This last reset, this new infantorium project, there will be a remnant safe, man. There will be 12,000 spirits, not spirits, or souls, right? Pardon the Anglish, right? Espíritus, almas. Pardon the Spanish, right? But there's always been a remnant to continue creation after the recreation. Alright, where were we? Once more, 2016. And if a woman approach unto any beast and lie, you know, we won't bring him back to 2012. And if a man lie with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall surely be put to death. They have wrought confusion. Their blood shall be upon them. America is the true old world. And going on the last tangent, if a man also lie with mankind as he lies with a woman, they both have committed an abomination. It's the reason why we don't rule this land anymore. From Alaska to Australia. If a man also lie with mankind as he lies with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. And if a man take a wife and her mother, it is wickedness. You hear that, yo? From Quisqueya, who still call your wombs Hella, yo? That's how you know, yo? Spirit, what? Governing carnality, left to right. And Slovakia, right to left. De derecha a izquierda, de de diestra a siniestra. That's a lot. Pardon, I got hella bad ribs. If a man take a wife and her mother, it is wickedness. They shall be burned with fire, both he and they, that there be no wickedness among you. And if a man lie with a beast, it shall surely be put to death, and he shall slay the beast. And if a woman approaches unto any beast and lie down thereto, thou shalt kill the woman and the beast, they shall surely be put to death, their blood shall be upon them. And I mentioned before, the animal spirits reincarnate way quicker than we do. We take 3 to 5 generations. They as well, but in animal years, it's hella quicker. And if a man shall take his sister, his father's daughter, or his mother's daughter, and see her nakedness, and she see his nakedness, it is a wicked thing. They shall be cut off in the sight of their people. He hath uncovered his sister's nakedness, he shall bear his iniquity. But yeah, 3 to 5 makes that geometry of the number 8. He shall bear his iniquity. 9. And if a man shall lie with a woman having her sickness, and shall uncover her nakedness, he hath discovered her fountain. Alright? Don't let her when she's on the rag, never let her fry the ragu. Rest in power, doom. Metal face, doom. He shall Salakia. When she's on the rag, never let her fry the ragu. He hath discovered her fountain, and she hath uncovered the fountain of her blood. And both of them shall be cut off from among their people. And thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister, nor of thy father's sister, for if he uncovereth his near kin, they shall bear their iniquity. And if a man shall lie with his uncle's wife, he hath uncovered Salaki. Healing them bad ribs. Pardon that. But yeah, moon's out. Alright. Before we all work for Amazon 1. Whosoever he be of the children of Isaki. Yeah, the poetry, man, the flow of the KJV is unmatched. And if a man take his brother's wife, and if a man lie with his uncle's wife, he hath uncovered his uncle's nakedness, they shall bear their sin, they shall die childless. And if a man shall take his brother's wife, they shall die childless, as opposed to the law of when your brother dies. And if a man shall take his brother's wife while he's still alive, it is an unclean thing. He hath uncovered his brother's nakedness, and shall be childless. Now, you're not going to go murk your brother, like, you know, Elijah's wife. You know, no woman should make you go against your brother, man, ever. It is an unclean thing. He hath uncovered his brother's nakedness, and they shall be childless. 22. 22. I'm literally building tissue around fucked up ribs. Turn this up so we can finish. I know, man, I might go to the casino and try to find the right to boom, but I don't think there are any. You shall therefore keep all my statutes. You shall therefore keep all my statutes. No. Empire City. I'm glad you see the top of that ship is catching the geometry of the degrees. They're all. The unnatural light is definitely got me in no hurry to make my mother's mistakes, or even my father's. So nonetheless, thus says Yahweh. Damn ribs, man. See that joint, right? From the rib heals, that joint pops up. It's weird. Ironically enough, my father's been an orthopedic surgeon in Brazil since '91. Acting like the other nations and shit. No less my grandfather, no less the man before him, but likely his father was on something, the fourth or fifth generation thereof. But yeah, we're in the spirit of our grandfathers. We're in the spirit of our great-grandfathers, reading the word that they once read. And praying that we're in the spirit of receive. Purity, man, straight up. Purity. Dodging the vernacular and pardoning the anklash. Pure hearts, man. Real. Thus said Yahweh, ye shall therefore keep all my statutes and all my judgments and do them, that the land withereth. There it is. That the land whither I bring you to dwell therein, spew you not out. 23. And ye shall not walk in the manners of the nation which I cast out before you. Alright, so just because you see other nations or other Israelites acting like these other nations, you see what's commandment, 2023. And ye shall not walk in the manners of the nation which I cast out before you. Which I cast out before you. For they committed all these things, and therefore I abhorred them. 6 and 24. But I have said unto you, you shall inherit their land. And I will give it unto you to possess it, a land that flows milk and honey. I am Yahweh, and Yahushua, your power, which have separated you from other people. 3 years ago already, almost, it feels, I was separated. Ye shall therefore put difference between clean beasts and unclean, between unclean and fowls, clean, between unclean and fowls and clean. So between unclean fowls and clean. And what are they? Said his mastery. The law in the KJV. And ye shall not make your souls abominable by beast, or by fowl, or by any manner of living thing that creepeth on the ground. That's now. They want us eating. They want us eating insects that creepeth on the ground, which I have separated from you as unclean. And ye shall. And for if you think the dietary law is complex, it's always simple. The pigs don't sweat. They're made to clean the land. So do the bottom feeders of the waters. And that's the entire law. More or less. Roughly paraphrasing, right? And ye shall be unholy unto me for the Lord, right? The Lord, that's the hijacking, the DROL, from right to left, for Yahweh, holy. Holy simply means separate, and I've severed you from other people, that ye should be mine. After his Byrd, finish at 1801. A righteous year. That was part of a process. And Pleasant War, 6 decades after. Pretty much destroying infrastructure that showed too much, not unlike the Palisades or the quote-unquote World's Fair buildings, which are still up in San Francisco. Google it. And this is last but not least. We finishes at 1803. A man also or a woman that hath a familiar spirit, or that is a wizard, shall surely be put to death. They shall stone them with stones, and their blood shall be upon them. I pray that those who have broken these laws, any of these 27 verses, I included, is seeking redemption through Yahushua. Look out. All praise, all love, and blessed be. Wa barakatuh. Our Heavenly Father, Admiral, Yahweh, he that is, in the name from the Savior, the Redeemer, and the Holy Spirit will call it After that, that's perfect. 1804. Okay, no Nintendo? Ryu. Still got his right hand. Everything with a spiritual grain of salt. That morning heavy metal particulate filled, reaching your bronchioles at a nano level. Through all that, the Most High still feed you with manna, that He did in the wilderness. So get ready, because history repeats itself. All these spirits are back, and we'll leave it at 1805 to the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai. Shalom, Yeshua.